Hello.
Good afternoon, Dr. Griffin.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Afternoon, Dr. Locklear.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope you are.
I am.
Good, good.
Well, a very, very heavy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Dr. Stason.
Yeah. Hey, Paula. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Dr. Bullock.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Bullock.
Hello. Hello, Dr.
Hello, Dr. Bullock.
Hello, Dr. Griffin.
How are you doing?
Hello, Dr. Locklear. Hello.
Hello.
Good. All right. I believe
I love that smile before this meeting.
it's going to be all good. We're going to be fine.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And happy Native American Month, everyone.
Happy Native American Month to you, Dr. Locklear.
I'm not hearing anything. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great.
Glad you asked that because I was wondering the same thing.
I was just quiet.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon.
Hello, Dr. Pro.
It's the calm before the storm.
Yeah. Do you have the role? Are you ready to go when I call you on you?
I'm good whenever.
Okay, all right. Well, we have Dr. Blanton. I see you up there in your office.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, Alexandra's here. Excellent. Dr. Weddington's here. Ms. Wisner's here. Our attorneys are here. We're good.
Dr. Bullock, I
see
sent, okay,
chat. I mean, yeah,
okay.
great. Thank you. Perfect. I appreciate that. And just in case people have not had a chance to check their email, I sent some revised information to you. We are in live documents. Moving right along.
Dr. Bullock, I think we have quorum at this point,
Great. Should we get
if my,
started?
if my numbers are correct.
It's 3:31. And we are live. Are we live?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Seiberg. This is
You're
the
welcome.
this is the meeting of the North Carolina Professional Educator Preparation and Standards Commission. Ms. Edwards, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Dr. Blanton,
Present.
Dr. Bullock,
Present.
Ms. Wisner,
Present.
Dr. Fleming, Ms. Edwards, present. Ms. Patton, Dr. Locklear,
Present.
Dr. Groves Price,
Present.
Ms. Condasso, Ms. Hoskins,
Present.
Dr. Weddington,
Present.
Dr. Griffin,
Present.
Mr. Smith, Ms. Jenkins, Dr. Winter,
Present.
Mr. Probst, and Dr. Stein.
Present.
We
Do
do
we
have a quorum. I
Great.
believe so, yes.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome commission members, advisors, staff, online visitors, and online listeners to the November 13th, 2025 monthly meeting of the North Carolina Professional Educator Preparation and Standards Commission. This standard commission develops and recommends to the State Board of Education rules related to all aspects of educator preparation, licensure, continuing education, and professional standards of North Carolina educators. I am Ann Bullock, Chair of the Professional Educator Preparation and Standards Commission, and I call this meeting to order. Our agenda and materials are available online through the DPI website, www.ncpublicschools.org, on the quote SBE meetings unquote link. The meeting is also audio streamed through a link located at the bottom of the e-board agenda. I will now read the ethics statement that is required of us. Commission members are reminded that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of this commission. Does any member of the commission know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. If during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair. It will be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. Commission members, you have had an opportunity to review the proposed agenda for today's meeting. Do I have a motion to approve this agenda for the November 13th, 2025 meeting?
So moved, Connie.
Thank you, Dr. Locklear.
Second, Kim.
Thank you, Dr. Winter. Any corrections or additions to the agenda discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Edwards, would you please take a vote for the approval of the agenda?
Yes. Dr. Blanton,
Approve. Sorry, I couldn't get unmuted.
Dr. Bullock,
Approve.
Ms. Wisner,
Approve.
Ms. Edwards, approve. Dr. Locklear,
Approved.
Dr. Groves Price,
Approve.
Ms. Hoskins,
Approve.
Dr. Weddington,
Approve.
Dr. Griffin,
Approve.
Dr. Winter,
Approve.
and Dr. Stein.
Sorry, approved.
The motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is the approval of the minutes. I did have one correction sent in, and Dr. Tomlin's going to share, I believe, a screen. Someone's going to share a screen in the minutes with the motion. The motion is that I made, that we sent forward to the state board. It's not, the full motion's not in the minutes. So the suggestion was to replace the language in the minutes with the full motion. Because we want to make it clear that Pepsi is saying that we'll move it forward for review, but we did not approve the rules as they were stated. And it was not quite clear. So the idea here would be that I would ask for a motion to approve amended minutes with the addition of this motion put in instead of the language that is in the currently. Does anyone need me to read the language from the that I'm speaking about?
Dr. Bullock, I make a motion that we amend the original language with the language that we see, all members see before us, and move forward with that in the former minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Griffin. Do I have a second?
Second, Chris.
Chris, any discussion?
And sorry, I am not clear what exactly is being substituted by this language. So because there is a paragraph and then there is upon motion, there are two paragraphs that relate to this piece. So what is being substituted?
All right, you're gonna have to give me a minute here.
Okay.
All right, so. Can someone bring up the minutes, please?
Dr. Bullock, who is working on that request to pull those up?
I'm not sure. Someone in DPI gonna pull up the minutes for us, please?
Are you needing the
We need
the minutes from the 16th or the minutes from
special called meeting.
the special?
The special called meeting.
Special called meeting on the 24th.
I've got those. And we're just needing the
Are you folks
language.
seeing this on your screen?
No, I'll share in 1 second. I was just, well, if I share, is it gonna share live still?
It's, what I'm seeing is a small, okay, all right. Now see, all right,
There we go.
Okay, where is the?
go up a little bit. Stop right there, stop right there, stop right there. So on this page, which I'm not sure what page it is, where it says at the top, Education Building Raleigh, October 24th, virtual 8 a.m. And in the second paragraph, it says Chair Bullock explained her plan of action, that it keep going. Each subcommittee would then share their thoughts for the full commission. Today, Pepsi would vote on approving the rules to be reviewed by the SBE in November, with Pepsi retaining the right to provide further update after subcommittee review prior to the SBE meeting. So I would say underneath here, where it says upon motion made by Dr. Ann Bullock and seconded by Dr. Bill Griffin, commission members voted unanimously to, and then put the motion. That's where I'm thinking it would go. So that all would be struck, send the licensure rules and policies to the State Board of Education for review, with Pepsi remaining the right to provide further feedback, to put the motion there.
I agree, and I was gonna make that suggestion. I like the paragraph above because it explains what the plan's going to be, and so I think it makes good sense to do it that way.
Okay.
I have a concern with the paragraph above because
Okay.
it says we voted on approving the rules. And I don't think we voted on approving the rules. I think we voted on approving that the rules be reviewed. But we didn't approve the rules.
Yeah.
And at that paragraph, I think needs to be edited. And then I like the idea of putting the actual motion in the following paragraph. So
Okay.
I would like to suggest a small amendment to the last sentence of that paragraph to say, today PAPS would vote on approving that the rules be reviewed by SB.
Okay, so we have two edits today. So right here on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line of the highlighted paragraph, where it starts with the word commission, today, the suggestion is today Pepsi will vote on, say it again, Paula.
Yeah, on approving that the rules be reviewed by SB. Otherwise, it looks like we voted on approving the rules, and I don't think we did that.
Okay, today Pepsi would vote on approving that the rules be
Be reviewed by
So we're-
SB,
Yeah,
which is fair. We agreed they could review it.
yep.
So it's adding one word.
Well, it's
Cutting
approving.
one and adding one, on approving that the rules, the to be
then-
reviewed.
Ah,
Yeah,
got it.
so adding that, taking out 2, correct?
Thank you.
And then in the next paragraph, after,
You could just say voted unanimously to approve the following motion and put the motion.
colon, and then the motion on the second line.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Thank
think
you.
actually it could say voting unanimously to send the licensure, but the following motion, based on the following motion,
Voted or not unanimous on this
to
motion,
send voting it on this motion.
and then repeat
strike
the
the
language
rest of it.
shared with us.
Chair
Are
Bullock, this is Tom Tomberlin.
Okay.
I have the amendments recorded.
okay, could you read them back to us, Dr. Tomlin? Or can you
Sure.
edit live? I'm not sure which one is easier.
So this will read, today Pepsi would vote on approving that the rules be reviewed by the SBE in November, with Pepsi retaining the right to provide further feedback after subcommittee full commission review prior to the SBE's meeting in December. Then in the latter paragraph, upon motion made by Dr. Bullock and seconded by Dr. Griffin, commission members voted unanimously to approve the following motion. And then the text that I showed you previously on the screen would be, everything else would be stricken from there, and then the motion would follow.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Tomlin. That was
You're
very
welcome.
clear. Any further edits to these minutes? Okay, so the motion is, make sure Mr. Collins, that I am correct here. The motion is Now we have edited edited minutes that we're voting on. Does that sound right to everyone? And we have a motion and a second, correct? Or not yet? We do. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
you do.
We do.
Okay, I'm just clarifying that we're ready to go. All right, Ms. Edwards. Now we're voting on a motion of the edits to the called meeting, the virtual called meeting minutes. That means that there are also some other minutes that we have to approve as well, correct? I'm asking the DPI staff if I'm correct on that. Right now, we're just in the called meeting.
You're in the called meeting. We would need to check the agenda from did you approve the minutes from the 13th on the 24th? No?
I don't think we did. So
No,
this
we
is
did not.
just, so we're gonna do two different minutes. So this one is just the called meeting with these edits. So Ms. Edwards, so is any questions on what we're voting on? These are just the called meeting. Ms. Edwards, please call for approval or not approval of this motion for the edited minutes from the called meeting.
Okay, sorry, I'm just making sure my
You're great.
comms are fixed. All right, Dr. Blanton,
Approved.
Dr. Bullock,
Approve.
Ms. Weisner,
Approve.
Dr. Fleming, still not here. Ms. Edwards, approve. Dr. Locklear,
Abstain. I was not at the meeting.
Dr. Groves Price,
Approve.
Ms. Hoskins,
Approve.
Dr. Weddington,
Approve.
Dr. Griffin,
Approve.
Thank you.
Dr. Winter,
Approved.
and Dr. Stein.
Approve.
Thank you. All right, so that motion carries. So let's go back and we need to approve the minutes from October 16th. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes from October 16th?
So moved, Paula.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Second, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. Any discussion or edits of these minutes? Sorry, I'm calling them rules. We're on the rule land. Hearing none, Ms. Edwards, would you please call for the vote for the approval of the minutes from October 16th, 2025?
Dr. Blanton,
Approved.
Dr. Bullock,
Approve.
Ms. Weisner,
Approve.
Ms. Edwards, approve. Dr. Locklear,
Approve.
Dr. Groves Price,
Approve.
Ms. Hoskins,
Approve.
Dr. Weddington,
Approve.
Dr. Griffin,
Approve.
Dr. Winter,
Approved.
and Dr. Stein.
Approved.
That motion carries as well.
Great. Thank you all. Okay. The link for the November State Board of Education meeting was sent to you prior to this meeting. The recording is bookmarked at the presentations for the ES&P committee, which stands for Educator Standards and Practices, which is the committee that handles the work of Pepsi. If anyone has any questions, please let Dr. Evans know, and we will follow up during the December Pepsi meeting. So I would like to now thank all the subcommittees for meeting in a timely and quick fashion to review your rule homework that you were given, and for doing that in such a quick but efficient way. I'm not going to ask each subcommittee to present because I think that you've received an updated spreadsheet. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Collins and to Dr. Tomerlin, if needed, to help as an assist to kind of walk us through what has happened since all the subcommittee work has been done. Take it away, Mr. Collins.
With your permission, Dr. Bullock, I'm going to start it off. And I would love to reiterate the efficiency and depth at which all the subcommittees reviewed these policies and rules. I sat in on all of them, and they were excellent conversations. To help you with as you follow along with your spreadsheet, I do want to point out that you reviewed 52 rules and policies. 23 of those you approved without comment. So those we will not review today. And then 23 more you identified as edits, what we would call edit or technical corrections. There was an extra E on the end of a word, or a certain word was inserted that should have been omitted, that kind of thing. There were 23 of those. Those on your spreadsheet will be classified as a no. But if you look to the far right, there's a column that's entitled substantive, and it's marked with a 0. You are free to raise any questions about that, but Mr. Collins will not cover those today. But his response to that is there in the comments for you to review, and you can certainly bring it up. But what he is going to focus on are the 6 that are actually referred to as substantive revisions. And those, so you can track and follow along, he's going to do LICN 012 and its associated rule 0.0306, LICN 013 and the associated rule 0.0307, and then LICN 023 and its associated rule 0.340. He will also briefly touch on LICN 020 and its associated rule 0.336, but that's just a quick comment that he'll make after he reviews those rules. We will certainly give you time within each of those rules and policies. He's going to do them together, but at the end of that, you're free to make comments or ask questions. And I will turn it over to Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Dr. Tomlin. Good afternoon, everyone. So as Dr. Tomlin mentioned, I'm going to be going through some of the specific policies for which there were more substantive questions or concerns that were raised by the subcommittees, and providing some context behind those and how staff has responded to that. So starting with what is LICN 012 and corresponding apologies, I've got about 15 screens open here, so I got to make sure I get the right document in front of me. So it's LICN 012 and corresponding rule 306. This has to do with the student services personnel license. There were 2 more technical issues that were addressed with that. One related to the wording about the graduate salary pay question. We've rewritten that consistent with the subcommittee's recommendation to provide greater clarity that the qualification for graduate salary supplement is a separate process that may be a supplement as opposed to a change in the level of license that they are eligible for. So we've clarified that language. We also removed the errant word socialist from school psychologist. That was a copy-paste error, so we addressed that in both the policy and the rule. There was another, I guess, a recommendation to rephrase the information around the speech language pathologist and the school audiologist licenses. We did not ultimately change that because the focus here is on the areas in which DPI actually issues a license. And so we simply have dictated what the qualifications for those positions are in their own separate provisions. In theory, perhaps in some future rule revision process, those might actually be removed from licensure policy entirely and just set aside as a separate rule about the qualifications for these positions, similar to school nurses. But for now, just for the sake of clarity in the field, we're leaving that language in there and have just specified that in order to qualify to serve in either of those roles, you have to have the license issued by the by their occupational licensing board, as well as the other qualifications that are specified there. So that's how we've addressed that particular concern.
Mr. Collins, could
Yes, Dr. Bullock.
someone highlight on the spreadsheet which one you're related to? Because I just want to make sure we all know where we are.
I'm not controlling that screen, but it is on the licensure subcommittee tab. It is lines 11 and um, sorry, yeah, 11 and 12 in the spreadsheet.
Okay, great. Just so everybody. So to summarize again, you didn't add the speech pathology and tell us the rest of what you did. You fixed the language on graduate pay. You fixed the typo.
Right, and we didn't actually make any change to the to how the wording around the speech language pathologist and school audiologist license or um, qualifications are addressed, because those are ultimately about qualifications for those positions. They're not about licensing, and so didn't feel the need to frame that in terms of how classifications or license are issued. And again, I indicated that, similar to school nurses, because DPI no longer issues licenses in these areas. In theory, these should probably be taken out of licensure policy eventually, but for now, in order to not spook the field any more than we already have, we're leaving those in there and just specifying that these are the requirements in order to serve in those positions, and that includes having a license issued by this other occupational licensing board.
Questions from the commission? Are we okay to move forward? Okay. And when you move to the next one, if we could do this again where we see, that would be great. So you might
Yes.
have to say ed prep, whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this next one is going to be policy LSN 013 and corresponding rule 307. This appears on lines 2 and 3 of the Educator Preparation Subcommittee tab of the spreadsheet. So it's actually the first two that are listed on that first page.
Got it.
There were, so with looking at the policy, there was language that was in the rule that inadvertently was not transcribed over to the policy. So that has been added. If you're looking at the policy, it's in item 1. We added the language: an applicant may only add a license area to an IPL if the applicant has met the licensure examination requirements for the initial license area. That was in the rule, the first draft of the rule that you all saw, but the committee did catch that did not make it over into the policy, so we have added that. The other thing that has been added to both of them, consistent with the feedback from the subcommittee as well as staff, under 1B, it clarifies that an individual may not add a license in elementary education or exceptional children general curriculum based solely on 24 hours of coursework. That I understand is consistent with state board policy, and that was some feedback from the committee. So that language has been added to both the rule and the policy. And I believe, let me just double check my spreadsheet. I believe that addresses the two concerns in that area.
I open the floor for questions. Okay. Great. All right, we'll move forward. Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Collins.
Yes, moving down to lines 9 and 10, we're still on the Educator Preparation Subcommittee tab. This is lines 9 and 10, LSN 020, as well as Rule 336. There was a question about the reference, and I'm gonna give reference to the policy. So this is under item 2 of LSN 020. There was a question about the need to specify the EdTPA and the content exams in as part of the applicable licensure examination requirements. So those requirements are included in State Board Policy LICN 003. So when we reference the licensure examination requirements, those are referenced. Those are all listed in that specific policy. The one of the nice things, the few gifts that the General Assembly gave us in these statutes, is that the testing requirements are specifically exempt from rulemaking. So test 003, may have noticed, is not included amongst these rules because those licensure examination requirements don't have to go through the rulemaking process. And if you reference back to 06C 0301 and the revised version of LICN 001. It defines these licensure examination requirements with reference to those state board testing requirements. So did not see the need to specify that here because it include the phrase licensure examination requirements is comprehensive of all of that. And there's going to be some variability from one license to the next in terms of those. So we were using that as the generic term.
Okay, open it up for questions. Okay, moving forward.
Right. So next we will be talking about the limited license, and pardon me for a second, I've got to find my reference point here. Oh, 2, 3. Apologies, folks. So sticking again with educator preparation, this is line 11 and 12, LICN 023 and Rule 340. This is in reference to the limited license. There was a question that had been raised about the portability of those licenses. So we did add language clarifying that a limited license cannot be transferred from one public school unit to another except for military service members and spouse exceptions, which are covered by a separate policy and a separate rule that addresses that those may be transferred based on military transfers and military orders. So that language has been added to both the rule and the policy to clarify that a limited license is not portable from one PSU to another.
Open it up for questions. Hearing none. Move forward.
Yes, and then the last one, which has to do with the continuing professional license. This is on the licensure subcommittee tab, lines 14 and 15, or excuse me, 15 and 16. This has to do with the continuing professional license, and specifically in there was a question about cross-referencing the license, apologies, one second. Looking for my notes.
It's LICN 011.
Yes, so there was a question about cross-referencing the administrator license policies and rules. The reason that we did not include that specifically is that we made a generic reference to the to licensure policies or licensure rules to ensure that they would be covered, that it covered any that might be applicable to the CPL. So there may be other policies in this area that where it says meet other requirements provided by this section. So if you look at this is in reference under LICN 24, item 2, sub-item B, it talks about needing to meet other requirements provided by State Board of Education policy for a CPL in either administration or student services. And it just kind of generically references other State Board of Education policy, and the rule likewise references other rules within the section. The reason we didn't include a specific cross-reference there is because there are multiple policies that govern the administrator and student services personnel licenses, and there may be other areas elsewhere in the policy that could be applicable, say, for example, the military services personnel. And so we wanted to make sure that that was left broad enough that if there was another requirement to hold either administrator or student services personnel license that wasn't specifically listed in those and their corresponding base policies, that could be addressed here. So that's why it was left broad like that, as opposed to just specifically citing the administrator license or student services personnel's policies. So I think that was the extent of the substantive issues, at least that Dr. Tomerlin and I identified. But if folks have other questions about other policies that we didn't address, be happy to discuss those.
Questions? I'll give you all a minute to marinate. Are there any questions on any of the other things that were reviewed or anything else anyone would like to see? Or anything anybody else would like to discuss in relation to this?
I have a clarification question, but it's not about the rules we reviewed in the subcommittee, so I'll wait until this part, I guess, is concluded, and I'll ask my more general question.
All right. What, yes, let's see. If I don't hear anybody, let me just ask one more time. If anyone has any questions about specific rules, definitions, process, anything that Mr. Collins was just speaking about, or anything else that was reviewed.
I just wanted to make sure the email that you sent earlier from one of the commissioners, was that already addressed and corrected in the information that's been presented?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I know that they worked on it, so I would say yes.
I could confirm. This is Dr. Tomberlin. I can confirm that. In the e-boards under Pepsi, there are four policies and rules that are marked as revised 11/13/2025. Those reflect those changes. These were not substantive changes, just recognitions that some of the stuff we hadn't caught. Some of the stuff those are contained in those revised versions of the policies.
Thank you, Dr. Tomlin.
You're welcome.
All right.
So I do have a question about the process in general that I still would like to ask for a clarification.
Sure.
So if we look at, 16 NCAC 06C, which is what we are looking at, we looked at basically everything that's not expired, and it went on all the way to rule 0363, I think. But if you look at the table of all the rules that follow under that category, 16 NCAC 06C, it goes all the way to 071, and there are a lot more that we didn't look at. Could I just understand why we did not look at those? Does that make sense?
Yes. Mr. Collins, would you like to respond to that? Or if you need clarification, feel free to ask.
Yes, it's a good question, and it is perhaps foreshadowing of things to come. So, there's of the rules that the Pepsi has reviewed, it's only about 10 of them that were on the readoption list. So those were the ones that were at risk of expiration. But our approach to this was a comprehensive overhaul of the basic licensure policies. So that's what is currently contained in LICN 001 and LICN 005, I believe, is the renewal policy. The other ones that are listed in there, some of them have nothing to do with licensure. There's a section on salary and benefits, things like vacation leave and sick leave, things like that. There's a section on the evaluation process, and I forget off the top of my head what the other ones are. So there's a number of those that are not actually related specifically to licensure. And even though they're in the same subchapter C, which has to do with personnel, that's the broad category of subchapter C. So that's why it contains those other provisions. Section 300, which is what is specifically at issue here and relates to licensure, is what we've been looking at. There are other policies later in that section that cover things like the extenuating circumstances process, the graduate and experience credit award process. Those are rules that as we eventually are looking at proposing revisions to update them, but they are not at risk of expiration, or are they a part of the core licensure policies, which is why we didn't address them at this time. We also anticipate that some of those may be coming with substantive recommendations for substantive changes to the policies, as opposed to merely trying to bring them into line with what is currently in LICN 001. So that's why those aren't being addressed right now. But at some point in the future, I'm sure we will be back before you all with recommendations to those. They're just going to be considered as part of a separate package.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, so do I have a motion to send our feedback to the state board for consideration of their licensure rules and policies?
So moved, Connie.
Thank you, Dr. Locklear. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second, Bill.
Alexandra.
Okay, I heard Bill. I'm sorry. Someone else said it before Bill, but I didn't hear who it was.
Alexandra.
Thank you, Alexandra. Okay, any further discussion?
I do have, I guess, a quick question. I think I
Yes.
saw in the timeline that there's more opportunities to send feedback later, because this is kind of a long process. I know we've talked about that. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
Does someone want to answer
Maybe
that?
that's a question for Ryan. I don't know.
I believe
Yes,
Mr.
so-
Collins. Yeah.
So what will happen here is that the rules will go back to the state board in December with these changes that you all have, based on y'all's input through this process. From assuming the state board signs off on that, what they will be voting on in December is to publish these rules in the North Carolina Register, which is what officially initiates the rulemaking process. And then that will kick off the 60 days of public comment. So there's obviously additional time for input then. If you hear, if there's feedback from folks from the field that actually won't be published, assuming the board votes on it, that won't actually be published until the beginning of January. So that's when that 60-day public comment period will begin. So even between now and then, I would say if you have other comments, note that, and we can look at that, as part of the public comment, and incorporating that in the final version that comes forward for adoption. So there's still plenty of time for feedback if there are additional things that people catch or clarifications that are needed. That's really what's part of the intention of the public comment process in the formal rulemaking process. It's just that because of the way that the state board does business and in concert with Pepsi on licensure rules specifically, that we actually have a lot of extra time for input just through the front end process of that. But so still plenty of time, Dr. Griffin, for additional feedback.
Okay. Anything else?
Chair Bullock, this is Tom Tomberlin. May I ask a question?
Sure.
It's about your motion. So is the motion to send feedback, or is it to send these revised policies, including those marked revised instead of the ones that are not marked revised, to the state board for consideration in December? Because the way you framed it, it would sound like you were sending feedback, but you're actually sending revised policies. Is that correct?
So I think we should send both. So I will revise my motion to say to send, I think they should see all the feedback. And I think they should see all the work.
Agreed.
Okay. So they need to get all the things. So let me revise my motion. Thank you, Connie. All right. So, so do we have to vote on this and then revise, or can I do a friendly amendment to my motion? Ryan, Allison?
You can, I think you can, because it hasn't been voted. If who I don't recall who made the second, but if they want to withdraw their second, I think you can amend your motion.
I withdraw my second.
Thank you, Alexandra. I'd like to make a motion that we send the revised rules and policies along with the feedback and spreadsheets showing our work to the State Board of Education for review.
So moved, Connie.
Thank you, Dr. Locklear. Do I have a second?
Second, Alexandra.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Great. Ms. Edwards, could you call the roll for the approval or not approval of the motion at hand?
Yes. Dr. Blanton,
Approve.
Dr. Bullock,
Approve.
Ms. Weisner,
Approve.
Ms. Edwards, approve. Dr. Locklear,
Approve.
Dr. Groves Price,
Approve.
Ms. Hoskins,
Approve.
Dr. Weddington,
Approve.
Dr. Griffin,
Approve.
Dr. Winter,
Approved.
and Dr. Stein.
Approve.
That motion carries.
Motion carries. I just want to reiterate again, in my purview and my chairman's comments, the amount of work that's been done on this by this commission group has been outstanding. I want to thank you all for your excellent attention to detail. I want to thank you for digging in. I know that there were many nights and weekends that you worked on this. I also want to thank Mr. Collins in particular and Dr. Tomberlin for your work around this, because I would send forward things we would get and they would fix it and send it back out. So it's really helpful. I'm very proud of this commission for this work. And we would really like to not have this type of timeline again, but I really appreciate the work that people have done for that. So that is my gratitude for today for all of you. All right. And also to our subcommittee chairs and members who worked and rearranged their schedules. So thank you all. Okay.
And
Yes.
I second that as well, and just applaud everybody's work. Also like to credit you as our leader and chair for pulling things together too. So hats off to you.
Thank you, Bill. Yes. All right. So thank you to all of you and commission members, advisors, and staff for your preparation for the discussion. I remind commission members that our next monthly meeting will be held on Thursday, December 11th at 3:30. We have now completed our mini meeting, and unless there is additional business at this time, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Bill.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
Bill. Thank you, Kim. Any discussion? All right, Ms. Edwards, please call the roll for adjournment.
Dr. Blanton,
Approve.
my buttons aren't working. Dr. Bullock, there we go.
Approve.
Ms. Weisner,
Approve.
Ms. Edwards, approve. Dr. Locklear,
Approve.
Dr. Groves Price,
Approve.
Ms. Hoskins,
Approve.
Dr. Weddington,
Approve.
Dr. Griffin,
Approve.
Dr. Winter,
Approved.
and Dr. Stein.
Approve.
We are adjourned. Everyone have a great day and a very happy Thanksgiving celebration. Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Call me if you need me.